this side over here, you will. Help me hold this check. And I better have a pen or we're in trouble. And Senator Dole's going to sign right there.
All right.
I'm going to sign, if you don't mind, folks, on behalf of the President. Believe me, he is fighting terrorism every day of his life.
Got it.
Is the mayor smiling? Come on, Mayor. This is grand money. Yeah. Come on and get right there behind Senator Dole, maybe.
Dark can't see. Can you now?
Okay.
I can't see either one of you.
All right, let's get them.
I just want to say that I'm very grateful to be here today. It's always good when we can get a little of the money that goes to Washington sent back down to our local counties and towns, and I'm very glad to be here. I'm very pleased that Senator Dole, who has an extraordinarily busy schedule, much busier than mine, has been able to come to Western North Carolina. This is her second stop in the 5th District today, and she's got one more stop, and it's just a delightful time to have her with us. She is she's a very hardworking person too, doing a lot of great things and very concerned about representing the state well, and has a lot of extracurricular activities she's involved with too that are taking her time. But I am delighted to be here, and I am in Wilkesboro just about every day, and North Wilkesboro and Wilkes County. So I'm here just about every day because almost every day I'm going up and down the mountain. So I know I'm through the county, and I stop when I can. But it's an honor to serve you all, and I'm just delighted that we're able to do this. And I have to say a word about John Cooper. He can run circles around all of us in terms of the way he organizes things, and truly does have a heart for rural North Carolina and making sure that where there are gaps, big and small, USDA Rural Development can step in and help with those. And sometimes it doesn't take a huge amount of money or a huge loan to make a difference. Sometimes it's a smaller thing, but it can leverage a lot. And so I want to thank John for all of his efforts on behalf of rural North Carolina. And I've got to be in West Jefferson in 40 minutes for another event. So they're going to let me leave, and I'm sorry I can't stay for the rest of it, but I know y'all will have a good time. Thanks a lot.
The most admired women in the world, and she serves on so many different committees, and including the Committee of Aging, Banking, and Armed Services, and I'm so glad she's on Armed Services. When we had the situation to unfold on the terrorists in Great Britain yesterday, it made me feel good that she stands right there with the President of the United States fighting terrorism and cares about this country and will continue to do so. So she cares about rural America. She wanted to come here, loves this state, and loves the rural people, and she's just one of you. It's a great honor to give you the United States Senior Senator from North Carolina, Elizabeth Dole.
Oh my, thank you very much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I'm going to do something. I think you can hear me just fine if I step out here. Is that okay? Because I kind of like to remove this barrier between you and me and just have a chance. Today. And John, thank you for what you're doing, USDA Rural Development. John Cooper, I want you to know, has the most outstanding record of any of the directors across the United States, of any of the other 49 states. He has brought more funds to North Carolina than any of the other states. Now, isn't that incredible when there's California and there's Texas and all these big states? But his passion for North Carolina, his love of this state, and for the work that he does, making a difference, a positive difference for people in so many ways,
just like what we're gathered for here today, has given us this wonderful service of John Cooper, and he is a great public servant. So let's give John a round of applause. And I want to thank his great team as well. He's got a wonderful team of people working with him. Boy, you and I are really close, aren't we, for photos? I better move back here a little bit. You'll even get the gold in the tooth here, won't you? But truly, when we talk about infrastructure, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? To have the infrastructure so that you can be responsive to citizens' needs and concerns, so that you can help businesses here in the community and also bring more industry and business to the area. So I'm just delighted to be a part of this event and this presentation today. And speaking of infrastructure, I have to tell you a little something about my husband, because I was asked earlier about Bob. And I remember so well when I was before the United States Senate for my confirmation hearing as Secretary of Transportation, talk about infrastructure. And my husband was introducing me. He was then serving in the Senate. And he said, I regret, this is kind of Nathan Hale kind of talk, he said, I regret that I have but one wife to give for my country's infrastructure, right? Now that part was fine. He was still on the reservation, but then he got off the reservation when he said, and you know, maybe the highway department could utilize Elizabeth's recipe for biscuits for filling potholes. Can you believe that? Oh, yeah, oh, it's right. I mean, so then I said, well, folks, I know one of the projects that I'm going to be working on as Secretary of Transportation is to put airbags in cars. And let me tell you something, I know all about airbags because I've been driving around with one for years. So I got him, right? Okay.
Another ouch.
Yeah, another ouch. Well, really, you know, you got to have a little fun in life, right? I mean, that's what it's all about. And while I'm telling stories, I'm just going to tell one more on him, because someone asked me, said, do you and your husband ever have a difference of views on issues? Well, I remember when we debated an issue, and you know, most of the time we're in sync, but on one, occasionally we see it differently. We don't march in lockstep. And I remember one time when we had a difference of views, and they asked us to debate it on Good Morning America. And so we got on this program, and halfway through the program, my husband said, Elizabeth, I'd really like to say something if I could get a word in here somewhere. He said that on national television. And I said, Bob, I have not made my point yet. And I kept right on going. I ignored him. Well, when it was over, we got a lot of mail from a lot of people. And there was this man who wrote in and said to my husband, Dear Senator Dole, if you want to be reelected, you'd better get your wife to shut her mouth. That's exactly what he said. That still hurts me when I think about it. It really does. And then there were those who wrote me and said, you're right, he's wrong. How could he have such a dumb opinion? But the one that I'll really keep for posterity is the man who wrote in and said, I do hope you'll soon be able to resolve your marital difficulties. So, okay. Let's get serious for a few moments here, because I do want to just share with you, in addition to the joy of what you're doing here, and to thank everyone who's been involved, local officials, community leaders, for recognizing the problems and for getting the funds to move forward with infrastructure that's so important. But I also want to talk with you just a moment about, you know, yesterday morning when we turned on our televisions, and it shocked us all to see what could have happened to us. And I was just over in Iraq. And I understand the North Wilkesboro National Guard is in Iraq right now. And when you meet the young men and women over there, and you have a chance to talk with them, it just, I mean, I'm so darn proud of them. And so many of them are from our North Carolina bases, or they're from North Carolina. They're residents of our state. Many of them over there. And to a person, the people that I talked to, both in Baghdad and in Balad, Iraq, these young men and women said, I can't understand why people don't realize, we're over here fighting a war against terror. I mean, Iraq is the central battleground in the war against terror, folks. It truly is. Think about Saddam Hussein, and this man was harboring terrorists. He was paying families of suicide bombers. You had the rape rooms, the terror chambers, the mass graves. It was incredible. He violated something like 16 UN resolutions in 12 years, just thumbed his nose at the whole international community. And so, you know, we're safer, we're better off, the fact that we went in there, we've done what we've done. But we've got to complete the mission. And that's what these young men and women over there were saying to me. I go up to Walter Reed Hospital to visit those who've come back, who've been disabled. And by the way, I'm proud of the fact that Bob wrote a book called One Soldier's Story. And what inspired him here was that finally he really ought to share more of his story from World War II, when he became disabled, to help those coming back to realize, yes, they can get over that disability and they can have a productive life. But up there at Walter Reed Hospital, what do I hear? I can't wait to get back to my unit. I want to go back. So I just want to say that, you know, this is very serious business that we're about. There's no question about it. What these radical Islamic fundamentalists or fascists, what they want is to drive us out of Iraq so that they can make it a haven for terrorists, to just destabilize the Middle East. Come at us again. I think that could well be on their agenda, to come at us again. And folks, they want to destroy us, they want to kill us, they want to undermine the values that we stand for. They don't like us. And we talked earlier about our faith, you know. And I think it's times like this when, I don't know, I travel North Carolina, and we're people of faith in this state. And we feel free to say that yes, this is what gives us that source of strength beyond our own when we're going through tough times, when there are problems that we have to deal with. So I just wanted to share with you that I'm very, very proud of what our young men and women are doing. One death is one too many. But I'll tell you, this is a very serious mission, because we see it. It's not like the past where you had, you know, you could face your enemy. You knew exactly who you were fighting, and you had a strategy. These people are popping up all over the place, and they don't respect the Red Cross emblem. I was president of the American Red Cross for 8 years, and they would respect, people at war would respect the Red Cross. You could go in there and help people on both sides, actually, in terms of the humanitarian aspect. But that's not respected today. It's a different world, and it's a very dangerous world. And so I applaud our president, John, for what's going on here, for completing the mission. And indeed, we do need the support of all of our citizens to recognize just how serious this is. And it's a matter of, I think sometimes there's just a fundamental misunderstanding on the part of some folks as to how you fight a war against terror. And I hope that we can pull together more and just have unity here as we move forward to complete a very, very important mission. Let me speak about one other thing that I know is important to this community. I'm starting to get a little sore throat, so I hope you can hear me all right. Very important. Our economy is rolling forward well overall, no question. You look at the fact that our unemployment is 4.8% as a nation, which is lower than the past 3 decades. The fact that we've created 5.5 million new jobs since the tax relief of 2003 went into effect August of 2003. Home ownership is at a record high. 70% of people own their own homes. 50% of minorities own their own homes. That's not good enough. We've got to do even better. But home ownership means so much because it provides a more stable situation. Kids in school do better when there's home ownership. They're more involved in public activities, the community activities. And parents are able to grow wealth, that'll help to pay for a higher education for a child or to begin to plan their retirement. And so we see over and over again the advantages of home ownership. And I'm glad to see all of this moving forward. And in North Carolina, our unemployment is 4.6%, even below the national average. But there are areas where we have real problems, right? And right here is an area where you've had furniture plants shut down, you've had textile mills shutter their doors. There are issues here that have to be dealt with where people have lost their jobs. and where there's special needs. So I feel very strongly, and if Virginia Foxx were here, I'd certainly want to say, I'd want her to hear this, how much I respect what she has done as a leader in education. She is a PhD in education. She was the head of a community college. And our community colleges are a great network, 58 of them, one of the best in the country, really. And they're on the forefronts today. They're on the forefront, and we have to provide additional funding, in my view, because they need that funding to help retrain people in the jobs of the 21st century. And you know something? The Labor Department indicates that 80% of new jobs created over the next decade will require post-secondary education. 80%. So this is very important, this job retraining. And I have some legislation that would provide funding to community colleges, to colleges, universities, that will plan and develop curriculum that really reflects the kinds of jobs that people are going to need to be trained for in a community. So I say more power to our community colleges especially, who can turn around training quickly for people too and help them to get into new jobs. So if we can just continue with tax relief, it can make a huge difference. We had legislation last week that failed, unfortunately, which would have eliminated the death tax, not eliminated, but reduced permanently the death tax. I'm for eliminating it, but we've not been able to get the votes to do that, nor were we able to get the votes to reduce it permanently. But folks, the issue there is that it's double taxation. It's double taxation, and it's a fairness issue. So, you know, a lot of small businesses, and we're a state of small businesses, and a lot of farmers have found, you know, someone dies in the family, you practically have to sell the farm or the small business to pay the darn death taxes. We need to do something about that. And also to provide, again, the tuition tax credit, which was also a part of that legislation, or tax deduction. So I want to see us continue with tax relief. I want to see us move forward to eliminate regulations that are choking a lot of our small businesses. And we need to certainly work on tort reform, meaning medical malpractice or medical liability reform. We've not been able to get the 60 votes to get that done. Our friends across the aisle have blocked that. But it would mean that businesses could put their dollars, their money, into expanding and creating more jobs instead of fighting frivolous lawsuits in court. So there are a lot of issues, but mainly job retraining, helping our community colleges, helping people get jobs for the future. So that's just a few of the issues that we're dealing with that I know impact you all as well. And I look forward to working closely with you, being responsive to your concerns and needs. And again, thank you for the privilege of being here today to help celebrate this achievement that you have created. Thanks very much. Can I hold anything? The battery. You can do it. That's great.
You are with the county, is that correct?
Currently working on a project that will promote the awareness of the importance of saving Wilkes County history through the preservation of heritage.
Ah, yes.
Why is it critical to save and preserve our county's history?
Oh my goodness, we learn from history. Who ignores history is not smart. You need to learn from history, and you cherish it. It's a joy to read back. My mother kind of encouraged this with me at an early age, and she saved a lot of material too. She lived to be almost 103 years old, and I'm so glad she preserved our family history for me to go back and really enjoy and learn from. And it's very important for our community and certainly for our nation. We have a lot to be proud of, and certainly you do in this community.
If we don't document and photograph family stories that have been passed down for generations.
Oh, well, you lose a lot of the richness of life. It's just such a part of the fabric of a community, of a family, to really know from whence you came and to understand more about your own family. So my grandparents, my father's mother and father died before I was born, so I never really knew them. But to have a chance to go back and see the pictures, and my grandmother was an an artist, and I have her artwork all through my apartment right now. And so, it just means a great deal to get to know them through the papers, through the paintings, through whatever they have cherished. You lose a great deal if you ignore that.
We're also planning on interviewing Wilkes County World War II veterans. You know firsthand, but why are these stories so important to document and really learn from those experiences?
Well, when you talk about World War II, and I would say I would apply this to any of our men and women in uniform, past and present, who have just done so much for us. Their courage, their determination, the way they handle adversity. My husband is a part of that era of World War II, and he's just completed a book called One Soldier's Story. And the reason for the book, and it's kind of hard to get a lot of the World War II folks to share their stories. They're kind of quiet about it. But my husband was willing to speak out and tell his story because with those who are coming back from the war against terror now, who have disabilities, he wanted them to understand that, yes, they too can have very productive lives. Bob spent 4 or 5 years in hospitals after World War II and lost the use of his right arm. But, he overcame that adversity, and it makes you a much stronger person, no question. And you need to share that with others and inspire them. Inspire them. That's what we're talking about in all of this, is inspiration, don't you think?
Just two more. Describe how history is such an important educational tool that prepares our children.
Well, at one point, I got a master's degree in education and government, and I had an opportunity to teach in Massachusetts, and I had the Boston police strike for the next day. And I thought, how can I make this live so these students would really remember it instead of just reading from pages of a book? I thought, well, I'm in Boston. I'm going to go down to the police department, see if I can find some of these people. It was early in the 1900s that this took place. Sure enough, after 5 hours of searching the files, I found a man in West Roxbury, Massachusetts. He agreed to be interviewed. I went out, put him on tape, and I asked him all about the police strike that I was going to be teaching. And he was really cute. At the end of each question, he'd say, "Did I do all right? Was that okay?" And all this went on the tape, The students loved it. They were 11th graders. And they said, "You got to bring him to school. We want to see him." So he came out and talked to them. But you need to make history live. Find ways to make it live so that it's something they're going to remember by using some angles like that occasionally, I think, where you can literally bring in someone who was a part of the experience or share in a particularly innovative way.
Shifting gears to education for our students in civics and economic classes, how did you get involved in politics, and do you have any advice that you can pass on to students with any interest in the political?
Yeah, so first of all, I think young people need to find that which they feel passionately about. Service to the public is something that has turned me on. I feel a sense of mission because you have an opportunity to make a difference for so many people. And so it's something that has been very much a central part of my life, whether it was government service or through the American Red Cross, which is a private, but it's another form of public service. So I find it to be a great way to give back for all the blessings that we have in this great country of ours. But each person has to decide for themselves what it is that they relate to. And I do think, taking courses in school that give you an opportunity to look over the horizon, and if political science and government is something that turns you on, then go for it. And I think most people who are serving in office would be glad to talk to young people. Certainly I remember back when Margaret Chase Smith, I was working for our North Carolina Senator, B. Everett Jordan, who was a Democrat, and I had a summer job with him. Margaret Chase Smith was just down the hall, a female senator from Maine, and she sat with me for a whole hour talking to a 23-year-old girl about the future and government. And so I think it's important for us to have an open door for younger people if they want to come in and we can share experiences, maybe show them some shortcuts or maybe even some pitfalls to avoid along the way. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
You bet. It was a pleasure.
This is a grant application that Wilkes County,
Right.
Save Our History, has applied for through Preserve America. I think Laura Bush is involved with that. And what we're trying to do with this grant is that in 2008 is the 230th anniversary of Wilkes County, and what we're doing is we're filming the veterans, we're
That's great.
filming sites, history sites, natural sites, and just like it is today, so we can preserve it for our
Right.
kids and everything. And we just wanted you to have a copy
Very
of this.
good.
If you
Thank
get a
you.
chance, make a call or write a letter
Well,
for
I
us
can
on
certainly
that.
give that to the right person in our office. It was
Absolutely.
Miles, and
Right.
we'll make sure
We'll
that
take care
it goes
of
in the
it.
right
And
hand.
Thank you.
we will pass this on. This will be available to all our school kids. It'll be available in our economic
Great.
development.
Well, congratulations to you all for doing this.
Thanks for coming.
We'll,
Take your
we will,
time.
we will do what we can to help, okay?
Thank you very
Here's
much.
my card if you need to contact me. It has our office number.
Have a DVD.
Thank you.
I do.
Your husband and you know, we're also trying to collect oral histories on the veterans.
Let me take that one.
Yes, certainly. I gave you my card. Why don't you be in touch with me next week and we can see what we have.
Okay.
See what we can run down for you, okay?
This is very,
And I
very
bet Bob's library, his institute out in Kansas would have some materials too.
Yeah.
But if you
I guess
can
we
help
better
us with
dash.
that,
We certainly will do what we can do.
Well, have a safe trip to Knoxville.
Thanks so much.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Katie. We'll be in touch.
Thank you. Bye now. Take care. Oh, it's a privilege. Thank you. Bye. Take care.